Your product, faced with hard luck. Faced with hard luck. Card shots, thieves, murderers with hard luck. Keeps the card shots, thieves, murderers with hard luck. Your product, faced with hard luck. Faced with hard luck. Card shots, thieves, murderers with hard luck. Keeps the card shots, thieves, murderers with hard luck.
Good morning and welcome to the Hard Luck Show. I'm your certified, qualified West Side host, Steve Lucky Luciano. Welcome to the Hard Luck Show. Got my partner's in Dallas. What's up, partner?
Hey, it's Chumahan, elegant barbarian, Southern Californian, American Indian.
And my name is Larry, and I'm a Leo. We also have
Larry the Leo.
Old Blue Eyes himself.
Sean Lewis, certified audio professional. Engineer
No technician.
for the Hard Luck Show.
No technician today.
Engineer and cameraman.
That's right.
Yep.
Welcome to another episode of the Hard Luck Show. And today, I want to welcome back a guest that we had on. Good friend of mine, West Side. Let's welcome back Jack Creeper to the show.
What's up?
Yeah.
Peace.
What up, G?
What up, doggy?
What's going on?
Good to see you.
Bro, what's going on, birthday boy?
Nah, man, you know, living the dream.
Yes, you are.
Just staying sober.
Sober a long time. How many years now?
36.
36. Think about that, Chumahan.
March
Chumahan,
3rd.
double digit twos. 36.
March
Our
3rd.
friend.
Well, actually, I do think about it quite a bit. I remember Creeper's last show. He had a lot of excellent insights, and maybe he might at some point want to weigh in on the tragedy that befell me, and give his 2 cents on whether or not I got to restart my time.
Right. Maybe.
Well,
I think fucking Jack should be sponsoring Lepke. What do you think of that,
You're trying to
Chuan?
throw me under the bus, huh?
Not even. What do you think, Chuan?
Big left. That's a full-time
Jack
job right there,
sponsoring
dog.
Lepke, well, he's got the right credentials in the right amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a big job.
Well, he's got a lot of information. You know, he's the type of dude that he's been around a long time.
He's almost got too much information.
And that's the thing. It's like, you know,
Almost.
I've met people who have had time and gone out, and you know, my best advice to them is to basically forget everything you think you know about fucking staying sober, because it clearly didn't work. You know,
Right.
but you know, it's tough, man, when you have that knowledge and you're like, you know what I mean. But it says well, I mean, we can be quoting the big book. You know, self-knowledge avails us nothing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Nothing.
But
Zero. Larry, think about that. Self-knowledge avails us nothing. That's not a, that's not a soft statement. There's no room for, redefining terms. It says self-knowledge avails us nothing.
I mean, think about
Zilch.
this. I got 36 years. I've been clean and sober 36. I've been doing this for 36 years. Every day, 24/7. Imagine being a surgeon for 36 years. You'll never forget how to fucking do that surgery. You'll do that surgery fucking in a blackout. You know what I mean? There's nothing that's ever going to come up where you're never going to be able to do that surgery, or a mechanic be able to do brakes, unless you physically can't do it.
If you've been doing brakes for 36
Right.
years. Right.
But you forget, you take one fucking drink and you forget how to fucking be a fucking human being,
True.
because you're just
True.
fucking a maniac.
True.
You know what I mean? One drink. Crawling underneath the fucking house, knocking on the floor, trying to get your ex-girlfriend's attention. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Because you thought it was
I never heard that before.
because you thought it was a good idea. You know
I
what I
did
mean?
that.
You know what I'm saying?
I did some shit.
I wasn't reading your inventory, Holmes. No.
God damn, I
But
did
you know
go
what I mean?
into my
It's
house,
like,
though.
you know, it's like, I mean, I've heard stories where, you know, people have like had substantial amount of sobriety, gone out because they thought that they weren't an alcoholic anymore, and, you know, start drinking. And then within, you know, a short amount of time, they're fucking cracked out, spun out, you know, crawling underneath somebody's house with a restraining order on them, trying to get their attention. You know what I mean? Because they thought it was a good idea.
crazy, bro.
You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, in that fucking time. Just from picking up a drink. You forget how to fucking stay sober. You forget, you know what I mean? It's weird. You know?
Shit.
But I know I'll never forget how to do a set of breaks. You know what I
Right.
mean? I know how to do breaks.
Chumahan, run your story down to him.
What do we got?
Yeah.
All right. So here we go, Mr. Creeper.
Jack.
Jack.
Creeper's retired.
Jack Creeper.
Creeper's retired.
You should do like a sober version of the actions, Jack Reacher, but it would be in
Reacher.
sobriety. Yeah, Jack Creeper. Right?
Jack Creeper
You're just
instead
like,
of Jack
you're
Reacher.
fighting against like Lepke's. demons. No.
Coming in and out of one city to the next and dealing with the next lepke in the next city. Right? There's a lepke there, right?
It's a lepke in every city.
Yeah. There's always
All right, what we got?
Right.
What happened?
So this is what happened. Probably about, I would say, a month ago now. I came into the studio where you're sitting, and if you look on that table, you will see that there are some orange candies right there.
Do you mean the ones that say CBD?
Now, they're the ones that say CBD.
Okay.
All right. So, unbeknownst, wait, why is I saw Mr. Creeper's eyes go
No,
up.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's, I'm waiting to hear the story.
No, I saw the eyes. What was the eyes? Just give me a sense of that. Just.
I don't know.
I'm
Finish his, excuse me, finish the story.
Okay.
It was more of a curious, like,
Yeah.
okay.
He wasn't saying nothing. He was just like, oh, okay, let's hear where this goes.
Yeah. So the ones with the say CBD on them.
They say CBD on them.
Okay.
And I ate 4.5, just popped them into my mouth like they were gummy bears.
All right.
Well, they are gummy rings. They're peach cream gummy rings.
Gummy rings? Who?
Yeah, gummy rings.
was
The gummy rings.
Freudian right there.
Try to keep this on an even keel. Let's try to keep
Not gummy
one
bears.
issue, one issue at a time.
Yeah.
So I was doing an interview, and about 20 minutes into that interview, I was high as fuck, Mr. Creeper. High as fuck. And I was high probably for the next 2 days. Mr. Creeper now he wants
2
to
days.
investigate the candy.
2 days you were high.
I was high for 2 days. I ate
Steve's like, yeah, come on.
4.5.
All right.
He's got glasses on. Creeper has put on
I
glasses.
have to have glasses. I can't read shit.
And I wear glasses.
Pain relief, calm relaxation, natural sleep,
It
reduce
does say
stress.
no THC on the top. It does say that. It's got a little like cross through the THC is like in
Where is that at?
right on the top of the label, right below where it says 1,000 milligrams of whatever.
Which says 1,000
Oh, right here.
milligrams.
Yeah.
THC free.
So
All right.
I was high as fuck. I was definitely high. I'd never been that high in my life, even back in the old days and whatever. I was so high that I called. Oh, Steve's helping Mr.
No.
Creeper. What did he
I
just
know we were just looking at this.
No, he's just
spectrum.
pointing at what it says on
All
there.
right, listen. It's out of my hands. I don't have any
Well,
control.
the shit
over
already
this.
happened. So
Yeah, no,
let's
it's
just
just-
get past that part. The shit already happened.
Yeah. Well, this is how
It ain't gonna
And,
reverse time. But let's
all right.
find out from
So-
the boss
so-
where you if you're innocent or guilty. But the more you
there's no
talk, you talk
innocence.
yourself into a fucking guilty
There's
conviction.
no innocence or
No,
guilty.
no. Listen, I didn't realize I had a prosecutor in the room. Didn't realize I had a prosecutor.
There's no innocent or guilty. First of all, prosecutor or
But the truth of the matter, the truth of
Counselor.
the matter is I was
Counselor.
definitely high as fuck,
You was.
and so the question is, do I have to restart my time?
well, do you have a sponsor?
I do not at
All
this
right, so
time.
you're
I do
sponsoring yourself.
not, my friend.
Well,
But I told my wife and I told everyone in the podcast land, and I mean I didn't hide. There was
listen.
no hiding it.
This is the bottom line is the decision is yours. You know what you did, whether or not it was intentional, whether or not why you did it. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't believe somebody who is in a bar that picks up a fucking drink that doesn't know that it's a drink and drinks it loses their time. Do I think they should have smelt it first? Probably. You know what I mean? But it's whatever. It's your own experience, and nobody can take that from you except for yourself. When I had my surgery, my knee replacement, I took CBD, and even they even had THC gummies as a alternative to taking Norcos as my pain reliever. You know what I mean? That was my decision. It wasn't prescribed by the doctor, but I chose to do that. It's my deal. You know what I mean? I know I didn't abuse them. I know that I didn't do it to get high. It's just that's a soul thing. You know what I mean? It's something that you yourself have to just, come to grips with or figure out and go with it. You know what I mean? Who knows? You know what I mean? I mean, for now, don't do shit. You don't have to do shit. You know what I mean? It's your own, it's your life. You know what I mean? So if in a year or whatever you feel, you know what, fuck, I'm going to restart my time or whatever, you know what I mean? It is what it is. You know what I mean? It's just a fucking number.
Well, that's true. Part of me feels like for sure it was unintentional. 1,000%.
Yeah. Why? I mean, you took them. Why? Because you thought it was just candy?
Yeah, I didn't take it because I knew it had CBD.
Right.
Sean had eaten them.
Right.
Salmon was going to eat some.
I mean, it's my experience.
Everybody eating them, and nobody was getting high off.
Yeah, see, that's my thing.
He took it, and then he got high off of it, and everybody was like, "How is he high?" But you took the Delta 8 ones that got you high, right?
Yeah, but I've taken those, and those didn't get me high.
They're doing them. I've eaten them. We've all eaten them. All this is helping.
Well, you have an ailment. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm a firm believer.
He's the only one that got high off of these. Is what I'm saying.
I mean, I don't know. I know
I
that I took.
I'll be honest with you.
I know when I had my surgery.
I did not eat those thinking these are going to get me high. And
I mean, you're seeing Steve eating them. Steve's been eating them. You've probably seen him eating them. You're like, fuck, he's not getting high. You know what I mean? I know when I had my surgery, I took fucking oxys. Mm-hmm. And I swear to God, the whole time I was in my recovery, I never once felt high from taking those oxys.
Because it was just killing the pain.
Exactly.
That's what I just
doing the job. It was doing the job.
I never got my nose open.
Nope. The only thing that it did is it actually kept me awake. It helped me. It made it to where I couldn't sleep well at night. I couldn't go to sleep. And so that was, and that's why I told them when I did the second surgery, I'm like, can you give me Norcos instead? And then they wound up prescribing Tylenol 3 to help me sleep at night, to take as an alternative to the Norcos so that I can go to sleep. But then I was just like, once I did that, I just started taking the CBD and the THC ones to help me go to the ones that are labeled for sleepy. And that shit knocked me out. You know what I mean? It was fucking perfect. You know what I mean? And I never once felt
But Mr. Creeper, I also do acknowledge there was some part of me that also felt like it really is just a number. Like, does it really matter how much time I've stacked up? It does from an experience standpoint, but at the end of the day, the point is to be sober.
It does from an ego standpoint, mostly. You know what I mean? I think. I mean,
yeah,
I'm extremely fucking, prideful of my sobriety. You know what I mean? I've been clean and sober for a long time, and so, you know what I mean? I take that, like a badge of honor, and so I'm sure you do also. I don't know how much time you have, but the decision is yours. It's whether or not how you feel with yourself.
21 years, but like for me though, I mean, really talking about it, you're right. There is an accomplishment factor to it, but at the end of the day, sobriety is really about not picking up. It's really about not picking up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
it might even be a bigger flex if you said, I had 21 years, accidentally got high, but I'm so fucking, I don't give a shit that I'm going to start over.
Well, I know people who have had similar experiences, and and it's not even so much that they started over; they just own it and they're accountable for it. They're like, "Okay, I did this; it was a mistake. I mean, I fucked up. You know what I mean? Or I didn't even fuck up. I was, other people were taking them and didn't get high. I took them and got high. I felt high. You know what I mean? But it wasn't intentional, and just it's my story. You know what I mean? It's nobody's story but your own. You know what I mean?
I've actually heard people in meetings get up and be like, or share and be like, I got 35 years of sobriety, with the exception of some brownies that I had in '84. Nobody told me about. I ate a brownie.
Yeah.
And, but they own it, but it's not interfering with their time.
Yeah.
Really.
It's not like they didn't use it as an excuse to fucking go out and fucking go balls to the wall. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah. So, I mean, it's your story. Just add it to your story. You know what I mean? Or whatever. Or do what you feel comfortable doing. You know what I mean? That's all it is.
See how Jack's real smart the way he says things, you know?
Oh, well, he's got 36 years, bro.
Yeah.
Oh.
Got to do what you got to do.
It's just a matter of what it is. It's just, yeah. I mean, it's your story. It's your truth. You know what I mean? And that's it, you know?
Yeah, like that's almost the way Jack lays that out. It's so like Yoda sobriety that he could even.
But yeah, because he's speaking just the truth of like this program, not a bunch of opinions and.
Yeah, I mean, the people are gonna hear. I mean, if you you include this in your story, say, and you speak at a meeting, and you tell, you know what I mean. Obviously, somebody's gonna fucking have it in their mind. They're gonna fucking judge you or whatever. You know what I mean? But they're fucking judgmental fucking people. Exactly, right. You're gonna get judged anyway. So it's like, but it's your truth. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you're comfortable with your truth and how you live, that's it. You know what I mean? You don't have to fucking answer to nobody but your God. You know what I mean?
Bam! I think maybe. What were we talking about? Jack sponsoring you?
Yeah, mate. I was just thinking. To be honest with you, as he was talking, I was just thinking that, my friend.
I could see it in your eye. That's why I said it.
I can't see. See, I can't see. You can see him. I can't see.
Yeah. Because he knows deep inside he's sponsoring himself.
Well, that's what we do. I've done it.
I done it too.
I did it.
We all know what I did.
I did it for a long time.
We all know what I did.
No, but what I think is super Yoda-ish about what Jack is saying is he's like, well, it's your story, your truth, and it's between you and your God. So on the one hand, it sounds like he might be saying, yeah, it's fine, just add it to your story. On the other hand, it's like it could also be like, yeah, you know what's up. Like it's between you, it's your truth, homie. If you want to act like that, then go ahead. It could cut both ways.
You want to hear my story?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. You, in the last show, I've shared about my trauma and some of the shit that happened when I was a kid, and coming to grips with fucking that happening to me. And as a result of that, I've been in therapy. I plugged my therapist, Dr. Jaffe, and his wife. They're amazing, and he does these retreats and shit like that. So I went on this men's retreat a couple months ago, about a month ago, actually, a little over a month ago. And part of the retreat was 4 dudes and him and another dude who was a cook. And, it was just a 7-day fucking retreat up in Temecula in this fucking nice mansion house. And just fucking meditating, diving deep into our fucking traumas and our shit and getting in touch with fucking who we are and what we do and what we did as a kid and what was done to us, all those things. Part of the weekend or the week was that, and I went up there with full intention of not engaging in this, but they were doing this guided and microdosed enhanced therapy, where they do this meditation with MDMA and mushrooms. Some of them did just mushrooms. Other people did MDMA and the mushrooms. And they've been doing a lot of treatment on Vietnam vets or vets in general for PTSD with the MDMA and the mushrooms and so on and so forth. And so I had been pondering it. I told myself I was going to talk to my sponsor and another person and get like a steering committee of people that are in my life that are sober, that are in the program with me, and just get them to weigh in on it. And I hadn't gotten to really getting around to doing that. But I was there and we were literally like maybe 40 minutes away from doing this treatment. And I was like, well, I'm going to do it without the medication. I'm just going to do the meditation and try and come, dig deep or whatever. And then I decided to call my sponsor on the spot. So I called my sponsor and I called my other friend, and my sponsor was like, I think it'd be fucking amazing for you. And I called my friend, and my sponsor's a Vietnam vet. And I called my other friend. I said, look, I just want to let you know I'm going to be doing this. I want to be accountable to you. It's going to be a guided meditation under the influence of this medication. And And yeah, I'm just going to be laying there basically for 3.5 hours is what happened. So I decided to do it, and I did it. And it was the best fucking experience I've ever had. It was crazy, crazy insightful. Like, I mean, I talked about how before, like, I was seduced by a dude. He was 34. I was 13. And my whole life, I just identified that as my first sexual experience. I never identified it as a molestation. I never felt like I was a victim. And so that was just it. That was my deal. That was my truth. That was my story. And once I started seeing my therapist, he was like, okay, what would this be if this was your son? And I said, it would be a fucking murder case because I'd be in prison for life. Right. You know what I mean? Or I'd be getting away with it. One of the two. You know what I mean? And he's like, exactly. He goes, it's a molestation. He's like, and so I came to understand that, and I believed it. And I'm like, okay, cool. I understand that. I can get with that. I can acknowledge that that's what it is. You know what I mean? But even though I acknowledge that, I still am somewhere in my soul or somewhere deep inside of me. I don't even know I wouldn't say soul. Somewhere subconsciously, I still had this belief that I chose to do it, that I could have said no. You know what I mean? That had I said no, it wouldn't have been forced upon me, and so on and so forth. And so I still kind of subconsciously took responsibility for it. And, it was causing problems with me and my wife. We'd be having talks or whatever, and, she'd be asking me questions, and I would get fucking mad, and I'd start, we'd get in an argument, or I'd fucking just like shut down and fucking walk away or whatever. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to fucking figure out what the fuck was going on, because I've heard people talk about it. I've heard people share their experience with the MDMA and the mushrooms and even ketamine. Some people do ketamine. Right. I didn't do the ketamine, but other people are doing ketamine. And so I was just like, fuck, man, I just want to I don't want to be this fucking hard ass motherfucker that I've had to be my whole life. From fucking 12 years old until now, I've had, you know what I mean? Or not even until now, but, prison, juvenile hall, county camps, youth authority, you know what I mean? It's like, creeper had to be. I had to be, you know what I mean? Somebody fucking steps to you, you gotta fucking react. You have to fucking be a certain way, no matter what. There's no fucking questions. If you don't, you're fucking done for, you know what I mean? You're in a wreck. And so I've just been tired of that persona of just fucking having to be that super hard, or thinking that I had to be that super hard. And so I chose to do this, and one of the main things I came to understand was, which really, 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 just left, it was like a weight, literally almost immediately after coming out of it. I just felt like a weight lifted off my shoulders. Like just realizing that I was just a fucking kid doing whatever I knew how to do to survive. You know what I mean? Whether it be, use, drink, feel good, whatever it was. I was just doing I was dealing with the tools that I had. And what this experience allowed me to do was it allowed me to not be responsible for it. It allowed me to be fucking an innocent victim kid, not victim, but innocent kid who was victimized, you know what I mean? Who was taken advantage of. And it wasn't my fault, and I was able to have that lifted off my shoulders by doing that, Really? And it's like now, and even it was weird because the whole time it was like, I was in this meditation, I was just thinking about everything, my past, that shit that happened with him, my wife, my sexual experiences, all the things that I've ever done, anything that, all the anger and the fights and just all the fucking acting out. And it's like, I come to realize that I did those things because I was surviving, you know what I mean? Those were my tools, you know what I mean? It's like, I didn't want to I learned early on, I'm not going to get hit first. If I fucking think something's going to go to blows, I'm swinging first. You know what I mean? Fuck that. I'm not getting hit. And so that's how I would do it. And it's like, my therapist, he described it like, I created my alter ego, creeper, or whatever you want to call it, you know what I mean? And to protect myself, you know what I mean? I was protecting myself, you know what I mean? And, you know, at an early age, 12, 13 years old in Central Juvenile Hall, you know, fucking right down the street, you know what I mean? And, you know, youth authority, county camp, you know, numerous times. And you know, I had to protect myself. And that was me. That was what I did. I just fucking did what I had to do, you know? And, but that experience of taking that is like, that was a medication. It literally, I mean, it was crazy.
What was it in that experience? What was it in that experience that got you to see it that way? Like, what transpired in the experience?
It was literally like everything was focused on me as a kid and who I was and what I was doing. And, you know, I was, you know, my mom was working you know, all the time. She wasn't there. My dad was not around. Youngest of 3 kids, wasn't getting the attention I was getting, you know, wasn't getting the attention that I needed, you know, whether it be love or whatever you call it. And what happened was I was in this meditative state, and I'm just thinking about all those things and like what I did and all, you know, what I was doing and the thieving and all that stuff. And it was like almost like a sunshine, like, cause my eyes were closed. So it was like a sunshine, and it was like just radiating towards that, whatever the being, me, or I don't know if I was the being or whatever it was, but, and it just made me realize that I was just a young kid, innocent, only wanting attention, only wanting to feel good, only wanting love. It's like, and then that's what all kids, from the time we're born until society's fucking moral values tells you, oh, you're fucking sinner, we're pure. You know what I mean? From the time that you're born until you've sinned, you know what I mean? Or whatever the fuck, you know, society's belief is, our children are pure until we're tainted, until somebody says, oh, they're fucking, you know, they're tainted now, whatever. And it's like, but that's all we are. We're just fucking being, we're fucking God's kids, fucking trying to be as comfortable as possible. You know what I mean? And that's what it was. It was like coming out of it. Like I was literally laying there and I was talking. We started talking. There was like 4 of us around, and we were all kind of like talking about what we experienced or what we seen. And one of the things that I said was, you know, I was just a kid trying to feel good. You know what I mean? Just wanting to feel good, you know, wanting attention, you know, all kids want attention. And we're always fucking telling kids, oh, you're just fucking seeking attention. Yeah, they're fucking seeking attention. That's what they want. You know what I mean? It's not a bad thing. You know what I mean? But everybody kind of labels it as a bad thing. And so those things were all coming to, you know, kind of coming out as we were, you know, physically coming out of this like meditation. We were all just kind of talking. And that's one of the main things that came up, was that I was just a kid, an innocent kid trying to feel as good as I could. You know what I mean? Trying to feel good, not feel bad, you know? And, yeah, that was mostly it.
Is it, would you say that the experience with the medicine, because I look at that situation as a conscious choice to take medicine to help you to peel something back for you to be able to, you know, So with that medicine, when you did it, so what you're saying is like, did it take you back in time so that you could really see, smell, feel your youth? Were you like looking at yourself as a youth? Did you feel like you were back in your youth?
No, it didn't so much take me back as it did just like radiated my feelings, or my feelings towards it, or like what happened. Like I was able to just see it, you know what I mean? Like focus and like recant, you know what I mean? Like those experiences, you know, and it's like I was talking with somebody today, and it's like, you know, you had surgery, I've had surgery. We take medication for the pain, for surgery, physical pain, you know, and that was one of my I don't want to say justifications, but it is a justification. But one of my decision makers of taking and doing this was that I've been dealing with this emotional pain for fucking years. You know what I mean? You know, and it's emotional pain. It's like we take medication for physical pain, but we don't take it for emotional pain. But as a drug addict and an alcoholic, we drink and use drugs because we don't want to feel the emotional pain.
Right.
We'd rather feel physical pain than the emotional pain. And so that's one of the, you know, because it's like that feels hard. That feels worse than physical pain, you know? And yet people are so judgmental that, oh, you're going to take this for emotional pain or whatever. It's like, you know what I mean? And that was one of my decisions. Like, you know, I've been dealing with this emotional pain, trauma, whatever you want to call it, for fucking, you know, 36 fucking 45 years, 50 years, you know, since it happened. And, you know, it needed to get dealt with, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I was able to basically not so much to take it back, but more just be like okay with what went down. You know what I mean? Like just become okay with fucking the decisions I
think
made.
it's really interesting, man, that you have the amount of time you have. And you came from like the type of sobriety that we come from on the West Side, but that you were also open-minded enough to take a chance on maybe a solution that would help you.
And that's
because there's some people that they would wear this thing so tight that they might never ever get the solution because they're so wrapped up in that I can't because I'm a, you know what I'm saying?
You know, the main, and I'm not, I would have never, prior to, I mean, I've never, like, I mean, I shared about this last time. My wife is my biggest fucking fan. You know what I mean? And from the time that I met her until now, you know, she's been the biggest advocate for me and my mental health, my sobriety, my, you know, getting in touch with the fucking trauma and just dealing with and changing as a person and becoming a better man. And, you know, I definitely owe my gratitude to her pursuit and pushing me to be a better man. As a result of me, you know, traumatizing her in certain ways, lying to her in the beginning of our relationship about, you know, certain things, women, whatever the fuck it was, not being honest. Like in my life, and I'm sure you can relate to this, most men can. It's like before my wife, basically my belief was if it happened before her, it's none of her fucking business. You know what I mean? Any chick that I've ever been with or whatever, it's none of her business. I'm not going to tell her it's going to hurt her feelings. I'm not going to hurt my wife's feelings by telling her about fucking how many fucking X, Y, and Z broads I've been with. Mm-hmm. But my wife's the type of person, she wants to know those things and she asks questions and she's a very, very vocal question asker. And I would fucking lie to her. She'd tell me, she'd ask me shit and I would fucking omit it. I would just I'd tell her like half the truth and I wouldn't tell her the rest of it. And then the rest of it would come out and then she'd be like, you fucking lied to me. And then it became a problem because it became trauma. I wound up traumatizing her. And as a result of that, you know, it's created some mistrust and some fucking, you know, shit between her and I. And so it put us in a position where we went to therapy. And as a result of going to therapy, I was introduced to my therapist, Dr. Jaffe, and he does these kind of things. And had I not met my wife, I probably would have never been introduced to that kind of a decision. I would have been like, fucking, I'm good. You know what I mean? I'm cool with who I am. Mm-hmm. That's my first sexual experience. That would have been my truth. You know what I mean? I would have been okay with that and not put two and two together and realize all that I've realized in the time that I've been going to this doctor and talking and therapy and all these other things and this meditation, all these other things that I've done. I would have never come to the conclusion. You know what I mean? And so therefore it wouldn't have been an answer. I know people who have done this kind of a medication and they've gone out. They've made a decision to start drinking and using again and separate themselves from 12 steps in recovery. And for me, it's like I never had that desire. That's not anything it wasn't anything that's ever been in my mind. My biggest fear was that my brain, my disease, as we like to call it, was going to take and run with the ammunition of, oh, you fucking did this shit now, you're fucking high or whatever, you know what I mean? And that I was going to wind up using that as an excuse to start drinking and using again. But I have no desire to drink and use. I didn't go into it with that desire. I don't have it now and I don't want to. You know what I mean? It's not my goal. You know, my goal was to get in touch with what the fuck was going on and try to figure out who I am.
Right. Mr. Creeper.
But he said Creeper retired.
That's all right.
He was going to go with Jack.
It's all good.
All right, Jack.
It's all good.
Mr. Jack.
It's all good.
What was it that caused you before the experience to view this episode, to define it as a first sexual experience versus a molestation? Why did it take so long for you and so many layers for you to get through to arrive at that?
Well, I mean, because that's just how I identified it. You know what I mean? It wasn't a traumatizing situation when it happened. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I was forced to do it or anything. And so as a result of that, I created that. I mean, I identified it as that, as my first sexual experience. And so when I did come to talk to my therapist and my wife and come to the realization, not even the realization, but come to because I realized it. I think ultimately I always knew that it was, you know what I mean? I knew that if that shit happened to my kid prior to me talking to my therapist, if it happened to my kid, I know for a fact it would have been what it is, you know what I mean? But for some reason, I took it on as my responsibility. I took responsibility for it. And so as a result of that, I identified it differently. And so
of course.
I took the power.
Right.
And I think that me taking that power, and that was me also one of the things with my stealing and the fighting and all the shit that I've ever done, in the rest of my life, was me, ultimately in that situation, when it happened, I wasn't in control. I didn't have any power. And by me taking responsibility of that situation, I took the power. That was me trying to take the power. And throughout my life, me swinging first, me fucking stealing shit, me seeking attention. That was me taking control of the situation and being in control and having to be in control for the whole time, my whole life. I've always had to be in control of every situation I've ever been in, and that was why, I believe. And that's what I've come to realize, is that because I wasn't in control of that situation, I took responsibility, and I had to be in control of every situation since then.
So to admit that you weren't in control before,
I didn't know that I was wanting it. I didn't know.
Right. It wasn't even an equation.
No, it wasn't. I didn't even know. I wasn't even.
You didn't know there was another option to it.
No, I mean, when it happened, it was like fucking it happened. You know what I mean? It felt, I was fucking high. It felt good. Fucking, you know what I mean? And I let it happen, But I wasn't in control, you know what I mean? Physically,
yes, right.
But I told myself after the situation, I ran it in my head, and I always told myself I could have said no, but I didn't. And so that's why I identified it as my first sexual experience. But ultimately I couldn't have said no. There's no
Mr. Lux, Mr. Big Lux. So to me, I'm listening to that, but I also heard Jack say that somewhere deep down, he knew it wasn't that way because he didn't need to go to therapy if that happened to his son. He knows exactly what it was and what he would have done.
But that's pretty much the same as...
how do you put those together, or how do those work together in the mind of somebody like Jack?
I feel like it's the similar thing is, like when he's saying, I didn't need to know that. I knew that in my head anyways. Part of me deep inside knew that. I think it's like that. Listen, man, when your kid's getting loaded and you're trying to pretend that you're not getting loaded, but you knew they're getting loaded. Or if a guy's like, wife's cheating, he's telling himself all these excuses, but he knows his way. I'm not saying it's the same thing, but what I'm saying is your mind can illuminate anything, any color you want it to be, and keep it moving. And
I think ultimately, though, what it was is even though I knew when it happened that it was a molestation, I knew that it wasn't fucking cool. You know what I mean?
Right.
I knew that this motherfucker was a predator.
Wrong. Right.
Okay, that's not the issue. And even though I went to therapy and I knew, and my doctor was able to walk me through it and get me to verbally say what it is, I was able to say it. And that's the thing that this medication was able to allow me to do, was to fucking know it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though I understood it was what it was,
mm-hmm.
I wasn't able to, I didn't, like, in my soul, I wasn't able to just fucking say, I was fucking molested, and let it go and not take responsibility for it. You know what I mean?
Go ahead. Is it because the concept of being molested means that you were weak at that moment? Is it because of the idea that it was a victimization?
Yeah, the stigma that goes along with it.
Well, it's shame. Yeah, it's all fucking shame based, But it's like, if I was in control, which I told myself I could have said no, I was saying that I was in control. And so therefore I'm taking away the shame.
Like you had a choice in the matter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I didn't. Ultimately, I didn't. You know what I mean? And even though I knew that before I did this meditation and this medication, it's weird, meditation and medication. Even though I was able to do, I knew this before I did this treatment, somewhere deep inside, I still was fucking holding on to that. I chose to do it. And I was responsible. And that's why I wound up getting mad with my wife when we'd have these talks, because in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, I fucking chose to do this. And then she's upset that it happened and talking shit about what went down and how the things and how fucking disgusting it is. And I'm like, well, yeah, but I made that choice to do that. And yet, so I'm fucking disgusting. You know what I mean? And so I was taking that on as a personal thing, as a personal hit. And that's why I was getting mad. And when I did this treatment, I was able to let go of that shit.
You recognize that you were a child.
Yeah, I was just a fucking kid doing whatever I could to fucking survive.
Yeah, you got to remove the whole seduction out of it.
Yeah.
Of not knowing you were being seduced.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, Chuman, I talked about, like, there's layers to, like, yours. I feel like this was like you took some medicine that helped, like, the truth be revealed to you, right?
To my soul. Not even to me, but to my mind, yes, I knew, but it's
right.
To my soul, you know what I mean? It's like,
right,
that's
right.
what
Aligning with your soul.
Yeah.
Like, I had told a story about a woman, Chuman. I don't know if you remember it. And you know what? Jack might know this woman. There's a woman that got sober on the West Side. And now this woman has 15 years, 18 years of sobriety. But she got like 3 or 4 years together and was helping all these chicks, and then she got loaded. Then she got like another like 5 years and then got loaded. Well, she got up and she shared. I saw her when she got 5 years and then she got loaded. She came back and spoke after she got loaded for 5 years, and she spoke in front of a room full of people, and she talked about her mom's boyfriend coming into her bedroom at nighttime when her mom would be working, and he would go down on her. And she was only like 9 or 10 years old, right?
I will fucking kill that
Listen
guy.
to this. So she got sober for a little while, but couldn't tell that secret. She couldn't tell that secret, and she got loaded. Mm-hmm. Well, then she finally was able to confess that secret to her sponsor that she was so ashamed of, and she stayed sober for 5 years. Now, when I hear her speak, when she now has 15 years sobriety, she goes, you want to know why I was able to stay sober now for 15 years consecutively? And everybody's like, why? She goes, because the ultimate truth of that story was that I looked forward to him coming in at nighttime
because it felt good.
It felt good.
Yeah, she was a fucking kid, and it was feeling good, and she wanted it.
And
she wanted to feel good,
and she was she was taking the responsibility in a way too of guilty.
So she was guilting herself because she felt she liked it because she liked it. Yeah.
So, but so she was holding judgment
on
herself about that. And she couldn't stay sober because of it until she came and expressed to another person the full. Am I making sense, Chuman?
Well, it's kind of like I said. I don't know if you remember the last time I was here. I was talking about being honest with God. I think I said something about you can be honest with God, you and God, me and I'm honest with God. God knows all my secrets. He's right there. He knows everything I fucking do. But if I don't fucking say to somebody else, that's why it says in the book, admit it to God, to ourselves, and to another human being. It didn't say admit it to God, to ourselves, because God fucking knows all the time. That's why they say, another human being, because that takes the shame away from it. Because there's no shame with God, you know what I mean? God's there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it takes the shame away from it, and it takes the fucking blame away from it, you know what I mean? Because you're being honest with another soul, you know what I mean? So she blamed herself. And that's kind of like the same thing with me. Is like I had this in me. And so I was so angry because of that. And I would act out on my anger. I didn't get high. I didn't get loaded behind it. But I was fucking, how many times have I fucking been in the meeting and fucking slapped somebody?
Right.
You know what I mean? I think I can, he's like, really? Numerous times, I think the last time I think the last time I fucking did something like that was it was like 5 years ago, maybe.
You were about to you were about to knock some dude's head off one day when we were just driving a couple years ago. We were in Venice.
Remember the puppy? He fucking kicked his fucking dog.
And you fucking jumped out of the car. He kicked his fucking
dog. Me and Steve were driving to my truck, and this fucking homeless dude, kicked his fucking dog as we were coming around the corner, and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And I fucking put my truck in park, and I jumped out of my fucking truck, and I fucking told him, "Kick him again, motherfucker." And he's like, "Oh, what?" I'm like, "Kick him again, motherfucker." And he's like, you didn't kick him. I'm like, yeah, you did. I said, I just fucking watched you do it. Kick him again.
He was like, kick him, watch what I do to you. Everybody was coming out.
But Abercrombie and Andalusia.
Yeah. But there's plenty of stories of Jack Alvin slapped somebody.
And that was, I hate to say it, but that was probably me fucking, acting out to feel good. You know what I mean? To feel good about my shit. You know what I mean? Subconsciously not fucking being okay with who I was and having to take control of a situation, flex up, feel better.
Check your ego real quick, right?
Feel better, get a fucking pop, whatever, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, who could judge a guy that was defending a dog?
You know what I mean? And it's like, but Steve was like, oh, he kicked it up. Steve was right there with me. He jumped out too. He's like, motherfucker. Yeah, that was fucking funny. But yeah, that's, and unfortunately I've acted out like that. I've done it in situations. I had a situation on Abbott Kinney. I'm standing there with my wife at Abbott's Pizza, and I look over and these fucking three people, this chick and these two dudes start fucking beating this dude. They're either at the liquor store, they're like hitting him, fucking, he's like trying to run back in the liquor store, and they're fucking just on him. And he tries to come outside and tries to leave, and they're fucking beating him up. And I'm just like, everybody's just fucking standing around fucking videotaping and watching it. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I look, the dudes, the two of the dudes kind of walk away, and they were all homeless dudes. You know what I mean? These are kind of the same dudes that were sitting there with the dog. Hoot. It was right around that same time, actually. And it was some of those same kind of transient street punks. And the dudes walked away from the guy, and the chick was left over by him. She kept fucking with him, and he fucking just hauled off and dropped her. And when he nailed her and knocked her out, they fucking just ran up on him. They started just stomping him. And there's like 3 or 4 of them on him at this time, and he's just getting beat. And I'm like, I'm standing there. I couldn't fucking let it go down. So I got involved. I jumped in, and I'm like, fucking, yo, motherfucker, you guys need to fucking stop. My wife's right there. My fucking dog was a puppy. She's holding my fucking dog at the time. It's a puppy. And she's like, fucking, oh my God, my fucking husband's going to get fucking stabbed or something. Mm-hmm. So I'm fucking up on these fools, and I'm flexing up. I'm like, you need to fucking stop, motherfucker. And they're like, well, fuck you, motherfucker. And they start yelling fucking Venice this, Venice that. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, check. I'm like, motherfuckers. And I start fucking, yelling my stupid shit. And start running off in the mountain. One of them's yelling showline. The other one's yelling fucking suicide. One of them mouths off and says suicide. I'm like, oh, here we go, motherfucker. And I'm like, motherfucker, this is my motherfucking neighborhood, and I'm like flexing, I'm like squaring off. They start coming at me with skateboards, One of them pulls a fucking knife, dude, and fucking I'm backstepping. I'm like, fuck. So now there's like 3 of them. 2 of them's trying to get to the back of me, trying to get on my side. The dude's in front of me. And I'm just trying to do my best to keep them all kind of like, in my peripheral. Mm-hmm. And right as I fucking get back towards, not quite to Jolena, I get to that driveway before Jolena, mm-hmm. and I see out of the corner of my eye the fucking blue lights. The cops fucking coming, and they hit their lights or hit their siren, little whoop. And right as he did that, fucking, I just lunged at this fool and just started to go after him. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, okay, these fools are here. They got my back now. You know what I mean? I'm gonna fucking take off on this fool and get mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I rushed him, and I fucking come off at him, and he dropped the knife, and that was when he did it. He dropped the knife, and then that's when I rushed him. Because as soon as they hit their blue lights, he threw the knife down, and I fucking rushed them. And then they corralled everybody. And then they fucking look at the video from the store. You know what I mean? They get video from 2, I think, Abbott's. Sure. And they watched everything. And then they fucking was like, all right. They had us all in handcuffs. So at first, and I was like, my wife's like, motherfucker, they were, and I'm like, fucking, babes, I'm like, it's fine. I'm good. I didn't do anything. I'm good. You know what I mean? They were coming at me. And then they were like, you want to press charges? I'm like, no, I'm good, dude. But they were like, well, they seen it on video that he had brandished the knife. So they were like, they were taking him anyway. I'm like, whatever. But yeah, that was just me acting out, dude.
You hear that, Chuman?
Yeah.
Oh, I heard the whole thing.
Yeah, you did.
Acting out,
fucking A.
And that's
the most expensive street in America. Is Abbott Kinney. All that shit happened on Abbott Kinney too.
I bet. Yeah, it is. Yeah. But that's it. It was just, my justifications, you know what I mean? It was me and doing my fucking thing, trying to fucking feel better. I don't know. Subconsciously maybe feel better. Had to be that tough guy or whatever, you know what I mean?
You know what's interesting, man? You talk a lot. You have a lot of good things, I feel like, to say about relationship. I don't hear a lot of guys talk about their wives the way I hear you talk about your wife. Chuhan certainly does.
Yeah.
But what do you say, Chuhan? Jack's got a lot of knowledge, man. Like, we were talking about your show after your show was over, and me and Chuman were like, dude, that guy needs to come in and give like sobriety and couples
I don't know about
suggestions. Like once a month, we need this dude in here. Man,
I'm regurgitating.
I will say this. I'll say this about Jack for sure, because Big Lux is right. We did do that, and the thing of it is not only do you say stuff that's unexpected about relationships and the women in your life and all of that, but you've also tried the other road thoroughly. So you're not like some guy that, never gotten in any trouble and it was like, well, my wife is helping me. You're a guy that actually went down that road a long way, bro. It's about as far as somebody can take it without losing a limb or something.
And it speaks in volume because of that.
Well, I mean,
right. And so then to come back around and be able to say, I love my wife and she's really, pushed me to the next level.
I wouldn't be the man. I wouldn't be the man I am today without her in my life.
See, we don't hear that, bro. I almost want to say to you, man, that I don't hear it genuinely, and I very rarely hear anything like that. Would you agree with me, Chuman?
I mean, there's a lot of people. It's ego.
Yeah, I'm talking about on the show. I'm talking about on the show.
Yeah, I'll say it. I don't know who Big Lux hangs out with, but for me, I can only speak for me. But I don't even hear it regularly in my circles even.
Well, I mean, it's not a subject that you talk a lot with, openly in a fucking dinner party or whatever. You know what I mean? But I mean, when I go to meetings and I share from the podium or when I speak, which I'm going to be doing here on the 18th, I think I'm going to be speaking for like 45 minutes at this meeting.
I'm coming.
Right.
And. I share about those things because that's fucking my truth. You know what I mean?
Your life.
I mean, I will share it with anybody. I don't have a problem sharing with anybody anytime. But I mean, if the subject comes up, but a lot of times the subject has to come up. You know what I mean? Unless I'm just telling my story.
Hey, hold on a second here. I gotta do something.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about this juice? Speaking of your wife,
look at me. Well, I'm gonna take over for me.
The juice.
Yeah, go ahead.
The juice. You guys see that? This is his wife's place.
2 locations.
2 locations. Which are locations?
Go ahead.
I know one is in the downtown, the market,
Grand Central Market.
Grand Central Market
on the Broadway side.
Yep.
Next to Egg Slut. And then the original location where she does all the juicing is in downtown Atwater on Glendale Boulevard.
Cold pressed real.
Yeah, organic.
This stuff is insane. And you guys listen to me. Everybody watches me when I post these, and I'm gonna post it again. The juice. Is it at?
It's the Juice LA. The Juice LA. And it's at the Juice LA on Instagram, I believe.
Yes.
Just
just wonderful stuff, man. I mean, he brings me this stuff. I'm lucky to have it. You guys need to peep that out.
Yeah.
Also, what's up with you want to plug your biz?
It is what it is. Power washing, high power pressure washing.
High power pressure washing.
Yeah, I was talking to the old Blue Eyes himself over there earlier. Just doing it, restaurants, outside dining areas, whatever, houses, patios.
You guys hear that?
All that shit. Refinishing wood fences, wood decks, furniture, teak furniture, whatever. I'm also just trying to do some. I don't like to call it art because I don't look at myself as an artist, but I've been working with wood and doing some turning on my lathe. I have a lathe at home and just spinning some bowls and shit. My wife bought me a lathe for my birthday and just making bowls and little cups and shit and trying to go bigger and do some different shit. Just making shit out of pieces of wood that most people would throw away.
Right. Jack might be the most masculine dude we've had on the show. The motherfucker just talked about taking a knife out of someone's hands, beating the shit out of him.
I didn't take the knife out of his. I didn't take the knife out of it. I didn't take the knife. I didn't take the knife.
He's definitely up there with Tate Fletcher.
I didn't take the knife. I didn't take the knife out of his hands. He threw the knife when the cops came, and then I rushed him.
Yeah, he threw the knife when he saw your lathe, and he saw what you could do with a piece of wood.
Saw your lathe.
But my wife likes to say that I'm one of a dying breed, because there's not a lot of fucking outside of our generation, motherfuckers don't work with their hands anymore. You know what I mean?
Last of the Mohican.
They don't like to work with their hands. They're fucking bunch of fucking pussies.
That's right.
Come on, last of the Mohicans, right?
That's right.
Last of the Mohicans, right there. Hey.
Working on cars, working with wood, working with my hand, all that shit. You know what I mean? Welding, wood,
come on,
all
say
that.
it, man. Last of the men. Last of the goddamn men. Just say it.
And if you don't, and now if you want to work with, and then now if you're like, hey, I like working with my hands, they're like, oh, he's a chauvinist.
Yeah,
he's a chauvinist pig.
He's a chauvinist. There you go.
Fucking scumbag. You know?
Yeah, not true.
Don't want to put lotion. You should think about getting lotion and a pedicure on your fucking hands. Fuck that.
No, but listen though. But Jack's a man who's a dying breed who works with his hands, but he's also doing the inner work. So you can't fuck with him. That's not toxic masculinity.
That's it.
He's doing the inner work.
That's the key. It's like, it's like we all want to feel good. You know what I mean? We all want to be our best self. You know what I mean? And that's all we can do.
That's it, man. Come at me with a skateboard, you punk, or you can try to be
or a pocket knife.
Or a pocket knife.
Yeah, don't let the cops show up and drop one of you before we get fucking cuffed up.
Hey.
All right, listen. Supermax Hardware.
Or kick that dog one more time.
Hold on.
Oh yeah, come on. Supermax Hardware. www.supermaxhardware.com. And if you you can peep out our guy real quick. Bam. There it is. Bam. Supermax in the house. All right. He always reps.
The Lost Z-Boys there too.
Yeah. Underground. Yeah. Supermax.com. Peep us out. Also Cookies SF and Vibes Papers. And these shows are brought to you by Vibes, by Cookies, and hand that over. Bolt CBD. Bolt and Alien. So our sponsors. There you go. Bolt CBD.
Keep those away from Kuchuma, huh?
And Vibes rolling.
Right. I don't need anything in that place.
Enzo's Pizzeria. Thank you for the great eggplant parmesan sandwiches that you sent over tonight. We appreciate that.
I didn't get one of those.
Chuman, I hope you got that vegan pizza we sent you. And
I did.
Thank you, Enzo's Pizzeria. And Esteban Oro. Shout out to the Soul Assassin. Esteban.
Sean at movemental.media for all your audio and podcasting needs. Hey, check it out. Hit us up, www.hardluckshow.com.
Go on, Jumon.
Shui.
Yo, on the Bone LLP, we protect artists, juicers, and anybody in between. Give us a call.
Anybody get caught up in between the juice press, he's going to come represent you.
Hey, listen, anybody talk shit about a lathe, they're going to have to deal with me. All right? I don't fuck with that. Woodworking or die.
And if you feel the pressure and you feel like you're getting pressed like a juice machine, you get with Chumon, get the pressure off of you. You don't have to get pressed.
Don't get pressured.
You feel the pressure. You mean pressed?
Pressure.
Get your ass in a bottle if you're getting pressed. All right. Well,
that's it, baby.
Listen.
Pressure wash.
Pressure case.
Pressure wash.
Remember that?
Yeah, high power.
Remember that term, pressure case?
Yeah, pressure case.
Fucking
Panic
pressure
button.
case, right? Fucking
Panic
pressure
button.
case.
Like I always do about this time, but hey, the Hard Luck Show, Mondays and Thursdays, twice a week. Mondays and Thursdays, always a smooth show. Thanks for coming. We're out of here. Hasta la vista.
Peace.
Thanks, guys.